The Goizueta Business School and/or Emory University in no way endorse this video. Located outside of Atlanta, Georgia, Goizueta Business School is one of the 9 graduate and professional schools associated with Emory University. Emory is a top 20 undergraduate program and houses about 7,000 undergraduate students and almost 6,000 graduate students. Goizueta itself, however, remains a relatively small program, with only 375 full-time MBA students and 318 part-time. Emory began offering courses in business and economics in 1919. An undergraduate business degree was offered in 1926, and finally an MBA program was established in 1954. Presently, Goizueta offers the traditional 2-year MBA, a 1-year MBA, a PhD in business, as well as several popular executive MBA programs. The Emory Business School was renamed Goizueta in 1994 after Roberto Goizueta, who was chairman and CEO of the Coca-Cola Company from 1980 until his death in 1997. He was the first CEO to become a billionaire from a company that he did not found. The school was named after him following a $20 million gift from him and another $20 million gift from the Robert W. Woodruff Foundation in his name. Mr. Goizueta was a philosophical businessman. That is evident in the school's 7 core principles: courage, integrity, accountability, rigor, diversity, team, and community. Goizueta was recently ranked as the 21st top school in the country by Forbes magazine, the 23rd top school in the nation by Businessweek, and 27th by the U.S. News & World Report. Internationally, it was ranked 23rd worldwide by the Financial Times and 52nd by The Economist. Let's meet some students.
Grimberg,
What the hell are you doing?
we're doing a commercial for Goizueta, and they've picked me as the Goizuetan to speak.
Because you're so typical.
Because I'm the typical MBA. Goizueta, take 1. My name is Dean Myers. I'm a South African doing a 2nd year of my MBA here. I've got 3 colleagues behind the camera that you can't see that are laughing. So if I'm smiling, it's because of them, not because of what I'm saying. I'm here from South Africa, as I said, in the 2nd year of my MBA. Before coming here, I was an accountant. As you can see, the typical accountant. Worked in Anderson and then KPMG. Did 3 years of that. Then went backpacking for 7 months, grew my hair, got some cool gadgets, and then started here at Goizueta just over a year ago, and having a really cool time.
Hi, I'm Rochelle McAllister. I am a 2nd year at Goizueta Business School, Emory University. I will be graduating obviously this May. A little bit about me: I have a finance background. For undergrad, I went to Oakwood College.
My name is Brian Moran. I'm a year and a half into the 3-year program with the evening program here. I worked in software technology for 3 or 4 years before really deciding I need to come back for an MBA to make the next step in my career. I guess I've done a lot of startup work. I've worked in startup companies as the 7th or 8th employee and growing them to about 40 or 50 people and 10 million in revenue. I really saw this as the opportunity to get in with a bigger technology company at a higher level.
My name's John. I'm originally from Canada. I've been in the Atlanta area the past 14 years or so. I decided to come to Goizueta Business School because of its focus on leadership and also its intimate class size.
My name is Javier Yemi. I'm a Spanish student who is here in Emory for a semester. I came in September. I'll be going back in December, and I'm here at the B School. My major back in Spain is in law and economics. Here I'm specializing in finance.
Why do you want an MBA?
I'd like to be an entrepreneur, so that's the end game plan. I'm going to have to use consulting as a stepping stone on the way to getting there. And you won't be telling that to my consulting interview tomorrow, but ultimately I want to be an entrepreneur, and I think the MBA has its advantages for someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, and it's also got a lot of disadvantages. So just make sure you know what you want before you come here.
I'm a career switcher. I've done the consulting route, done the marketing route, and I'm a numbers person, so I really want to get into finance, be it money management or investment banking. So in order to break into that, I needed to come back to get my master's in business.
Why did you choose Goizueta?
Small school, which means, in my view, I think you get a better experience, also a really close community, and it's a fun place to be. I figure at all the good schools you're going to be getting a great education, so you might as well enjoy your 2 years. And I'm having a lot of fun here.
When looking at MBA programs, I think The first factor was size, and Emory offers a very small individualized program, and that was very attractive to me. And location, I've lived in Atlanta for the past 5 or so years, and it's a wonderful city. There's a lot to do, so along with your academic, you can get away and enjoy the city. It has a lot to offer from a cultural standpoint. As an African American, Atlanta's a great place to be.
I probably went to 3 or 4 different recruiting sessions with different universities. I can't say, I guess I chose Emory #1 because of location, where I had a good job and I wanted to stay here and had to have the local network. But overall, it kind of seemed like the people were real, that some other schools I didn't quite get the feeling of welcoming outsiders, and that's obviously not the case here.
What do you like or dislike about the program?
What I like about Emory is our focus on leadership. We were actually ranked #1 in leadership last year, and I think all the students really take that to heart. I'm a member of the Black MBA Association here, and this year, kind of like a tribute to that, we're actually putting together the first diverse leadership conference, which is going to be this upcoming November. And the whole goal is to bring together Atlanta's community, professional students, just to have a discussion about leadership. And the theme is like empowerment through entrepreneurship. And Goizueta's programs really focus on independent thinking, which I like. The professors are wonderful, and then you have the opportunity to meet a lot of terrific people. And it's just a very realistic experience.
For the evening student, I'm paying for myself to come out of my own pocket. For them to recognize that and treat me just like a daytime student is huge. I think a lot of other places you hear that the evening students, the part-time students aren't given the same access because they're worried that the employers are paying for it. I guess here they're mindful of that to make sure they're not abusing any relationships, but for someone like me who's paying for it themselves, that's what I'm here for, the career counseling and the advancement.
What do you think of Atlanta as a city? How do you find the nightlife?
Atlanta's social life's okay. I've been here now just over a year. We have a lot of fun, but I suspect after a few years you may get a little bored of Atlanta if you prefer maybe New York, Miami, LA type place.
Well, like I said, Atlanta's a wonderful city. I've lived here for 5 years. I mean, whether it's the nightlife, whether it's the weather, it's like October 31st, and I don't really need this jacket on, it's like 75 degrees. So and it's already 4:30 or so. So, to be able to count the opportunity for sunny days versus cold days, it's worth it. So it's the weather and the nightlife.
You always hear about the southern hospitality. People are always waiting to you. It's nice. The weather's perfect. Maybe January, February gets a little cold, but other than that, it's great to get around. The one drawback of Atlanta probably is the traffic, but being a student, living close to school, you don't run into that often. And Atlanta's a growing city. If you're going to a business school, you want to get into business, Atlanta has some of the top Fortune 500 companies right here, so it's good to have that knowledge base at your fingertips.
I guess the best part about Atlanta is that I'm a Southern boy from Alabama, and I get to go home for football games every weekend if I want to, or I can stay here in a city that's got so much to offer, business-wise, cultural-wise, and a great place to raise a family. So where I look forward to being to for a while, and that's probably why I'm at Emory as opposed to somewhere else, where I can build a core network of people here in Atlanta who are going to work in this area for a while, and that I look forward to maintaining relationships with.
I actually haven't seen so much of it because I spend most of my time here in campus, and I think campus is great. But the city is cool. I like Midtown, that's cool, and some places of downtown there. It's not like New York or Washington where you have so many things to see, but okay, I think it's okay.
Do you need a car to live and go to school here?
In Atlanta? Oh yeah. I guess you could, we have international students who don't have cars, but yeah. Atlanta's not the city, it's not a New York, it's not a Chicago, well, even in Chicago you need a car, you need a car.
Definitely need a car. If you're going to be in school here, it definitely helps to live in the area, and I guess it's not cheap, but compared to other big cities, it's pretty affordable.
I'm actually married, and me and my wife only have one car, so you can get around. It's actually, MARTA The mass transit works pretty well here for actually the business school. It drops you off right there, but to get to a grocery store or to go out at night, cabs aren't too available. I mean, you can call them, but it's probably better to have a car here.
How have you found the social life at Goizueta?
Goizueta itself is tons of fun. I think they really do emphasize the social side of the MBA, which is really, really important. I'm being serious, don't underestimate that. You are here for 2 years and you are going to get the education, but kick back and have some fun. I think it's definitely, the whole MBA experience is more important than, the core disciplines that you learn underneath.
Because it's so small, probably, it's very social. We have kegs every Thursday, and our student activities coordinator does a good job with, so you have kegs like at, I don't know, at 4 o'clock or something, and then there's always a late night activity where it's like open to all of us to go out, whether it's been a movie night, whether it's been at one of the local clubs or bars. It's just like, it's kind of like a student club activity, we have, it's a very social environment. We have a semi-formal coming up. Then we have a formal in the spring, actually last week we had a Halloween. We had a Halloween party this past Thursday, and everybody kind of gets involved in that. You have different clubs like the GMA, the Marketing Association. They sponsored a shot table to do shots at. So I don't know if that needs to go on the tape, but no, but it's very social, very, very social.
As you see, I'm now in my Halloween costume, and I had a fantastic weekend in this past one. I got every single day, and I found out this wonderful tradition I've got over here, because in Europe it's not a big thing. And yes, I'm having lots of fun.
How heavy have you found the workload?
First year, going from backpacking where you've got zero responsibility to business school, you got a lot more. It was quite a transition. Your first semester, I'm just talking here Goizueta specific, very rigorous, very time consuming. The level of the stuff you do is not that difficult, it's more the demands on your time. You're very, very busy all the time, whether it's class or teamwork or company presentations, you're always doing something. Then after that you can, map out your own route. You can go more academic route where you study more and really have more of an academic experience, or you can have that in the background and pick softer classes and I'd say enjoy the experience more. So it's all up to you after the first semester.
It really depends on your background. Everything, it's new. So a lot of us haven't been in an academic environment for maybe 4 or 5 years. So to come back and open up the books, read the cases, prepare the cases, it's definitely challenging. But it's collaborative. We're put into groups our first year, our first semester, and the way the groups are structured, it's a really good balance of work experience. It's a very diverse group that they put together to help you get through the workload, and then you just kind of get used to it. I think going back it's going to be hard, and you just buckle down and do what you need to do.
Pretty rigorous. We just got done with midterms last week, but it's sort of a work hard, play hard mentality here. 30 hours a week, 30, 40 hours a week outside of class.
How much of your classwork is case versus lecture?
It's not strictly case-based, it's not strictly lecture-based, it's a good mix between the two.
Your core first semester, it's light on the case side. You get more of the foundations. You do cases in some classes, but that was the biggest thing I noticed between switching from the first semester of my core versus the second semester of the first year, is the amount of cases that you do. And in fact, and then in the second year, I think it's pretty much, it's all, at least in my classes that I'm taking, it's all case.
How have you found your fellow students?
My fellow students are tons of fun, a very eclectic mix. There was a good Argentinian friend of mine that just went in the door there. Behind you we've got 3 people, one from France, one from Turkey, and one originally from Macedonia, but Macedonia. Right, but you've been living here in the US for a while. How many years?
But I'm still Macedonian.
Okay, so she's still Macedonian, okay. So we've got an eclectic mix and just a cool bunch of people.
Yeah, it's a small program, but funny enough, we have like 33% women. I think 33% international. So from that level, I guess your first year, your full-time incoming class is about 150 or so. Then we pick up 51 years. But from looking at those backgrounds, I mean, it's like you got a lot of, it's a good mix of women and men, and ethnic diversity, professional diversity. We have a professional tennis player in our professional gamer, some of the more interesting things, along with your standard people like me who either have some type of finance background and others who have maybe a marketing or an engineer background. So it's a good mix.
They're all pretty sharp. I've been very impressed with the international students. Their grasp of the English language, how knowledgeable they are, intelligent they are. We have a real bright class this year. They're from all over. I think 37% of our class is international, 33% is women. So we have people from California to Korea. Just my personal team group. I'm from Canada. One guy's from Colorado, a girl's from Houston, girl from Korea, and one guy from Philippines. So that kind of gives a mix of the kind of group you'll be dealing with.
You know, you get people who've been kind of going through life experiences, moving up within their companies, as well as, you know, building families, and that's it's a great thing to be around.
I have to say again, they are far more open than Europeans with American students coming to study by. Though people in Spain are also, they care a lot about the studies and all that, here people are really focused. I mean, like, I've seen some of them that they really know what they want to do and they just go for it.
Do you think that attending Goizueta is expensive?
It's not cheap, but it's not necessary. I think it's doable. The best advice, and I say this for anyone, is to prepare financially before you go back to school. You know, you just have to learn to be on a budget again. But again, I think one thing about Goizueta is that most of our students receive some type of scholarship. And so there's definitely a lot to be said about the availability of financial support, which I think is tremendous. But you can room with people. We actually have graduate housing. I lived in the graduate apartments my first year on school as a first-year student. Not because necessarily I needed to, but I just thought it was good to break myself away from Atlanta since I have lived here for so many years and force myself in more of an academic setting.
What is the relationship like between full-time and part-time students?
For the first year and a half or so, you're just in your core classes with your classmates, and so that's the time where you get to bond and you develop some good relationships with people who are working at companies like GE and Georgia Pacific. But then after that, you have a chance to break out into your electives. And a lot of the great thing about this program is that they offer some great electives at night. So I get to mingle with the daytime students who are taking classes at night. So tonight I'm taking classes with Ben Kaczynski, and probably about half the class is daytime students.
Is the administration responsive to the needs of international students?
Definitely, very collegial environment. I find Camberwell, who's the dean, he's got an open door policy, you know, and very responsive to what we have to say. You know, if we go in and say we're not happy or something, we'll definitely take it into consideration and most times actually fix it up. So the administration is definitely responsive, and on the international side they do have a program to help you immerse into the program.
What international programs are available?
I actually have an interest in a myriad of things, and Goizueta is actually helping me develop that by allowing me to study abroad my final semester. I'll be in Milan studying at the Bocconi School of Management there. And the reason why I chose Milan is because it's the fashion capital of the world, which originally I wrote in my essays my interest in the fashion industry. So what better way to understand it versus, go over there and just understand what it's about. So I'm very excited about that. And what was really awesome is that we have a BBA program here, and they have a more distinct relationship with Bocconi. But the MBA program, knowing my interests there, they worked really hard to allow me to attend in a non-traditional format as an MBA student over at Bocconi. And then Bocconi, working with Goizueta in the past, was very open and receptive to letting me come over there to study. So right there, the opportunity to spend a semester in Milan, that's pretty remarkable.
How would you describe the student-faculty relationship?
again, I think it comes from, Goizueta's open and caring culture. So the faculty, for the most part, most of the professors that I've interacted with, also always willing to talk to students, and you don't have to, I don't know, this is just my experience over here, but you don't have to treat them, put them on a higher plane. You can just, approach them as individuals. So yeah, I think faculty are very cool.
I think it's great. Actually, that's probably one of the best things. They're very accessible because it's so small. Their office hours, you can go, they encourage you to come to office hours. They're very receptive, if you want to, if you want to learn, they're there to make sure you do that. So I find that the faculty and staff are very supportive of our academic pursuits, and they're very accessible, which I really value.
For the evening program, it's real key that they understand that sometimes you got to work. And then for the most part, they really understand that they're going to make exceptions for that. They've got videos available for any lectures that you miss. From a quality level of professors, and they're really speaking from experience. I think there's a great group of professors who have worked in industry, come back to academia, and have been able to make the jump and to bring their real life experiences and convey them to the students. It's been a lot. I've learned a lot from those guys.
It's good. Once again, it comes back to the small class environment. Our class is only about 145 people. So your class size is around anywhere from 40 to 50 people in a class, in your core classes. So you got a lot of one-on-one interactions with your professors. You're not just a number, they actually know your name.
Is there a difference in teaching style from what you're accustomed to?
Well, it's actually quite different because here everything is more practical focus. So like in Spain, we've got tons of amounts of theory to memorize, and that actually gives us a very big advantage in terms of, I don't know, maybe we are more hardworking in terms of we don't mind being 8 hours in front of books, but on the other hand, here like all the assignments, all the case studies are very, very practical. So I have noticed that here, when it comes to doing a project, teamwork and things like that, people are faster, and they are like more focusing. We have to do this like in little amount of time and things like that. So yeah, that has been one of the biggest difference. And also that here teachers are more close. They are less formal. Like they email you more often, they call you by your name and things like that. And in Spain it just doesn't happen.
Can you tell us about the 7 core values?
Doesn't come as a surprise. I mean, you're seeing it in a lot of businesses, and what resonates in business is also going to resonate in business schools. I'd like to talk about the one really, really cool core value, that's courage. Every year, the first year group actually tests that core value by going skydiving as a group, and I think that's a really fun activity for a business school program. So yeah, that's one of our really better core values in my view.
It's ingrained in us from day one. We come in, starting your first semester, you have a thing called Lead Week, where you get put into your groups and you kind of get taught, you kind of give a crash course on what your first year is going to be like. But also, they also teach you the core values in there. We have a class called G+. It's kind of our intro to leadership type class, your do's and don'ts of the business world, and it kind of focuses on each week each one of the core values.
Our business ethics focus at Goizueta.
It kind of comes up in your accounting classes. You definitely. I think ours is our premier statement here is global principled leaders. And that right there is just. It's the essence of everything we do. I think we speak about our core values so much, especially in the first year, and not just speak about them. We actually have a core values console that makes sure that you're clear on what these values mean. You become more of a principled leader. You're committed to being ethical. I don't worry about any of my classmates doing anything unethical, and should that happen in the future in our careers, it would be very so against the norm.
What is the relationship like with the rest of the university?
Pretty much like the college. If you want to take college classes on the college, the BBAs and the college students have priority. But again, like I mentioned, I'm going to Milan, so I wanted to take Italian, and so they allowed me to audit Italian this semester to help prepare. So it's pretty much whatever you want. If you have an interest in anything, you can manage it with the level of rigor here. Hats off.
Is there a strong relationship with the alumni network?
When you're here, you see the level of passion people have for Goizueta. We have a joke that something must be in the Kool-Aid or something. So, and you see that when alums do come back, whether it's in a recruiting or whether it's just our alumni reception. So most of them have had such a positive experience that you see it when they come back, and it's really nice.
Even though Goizueta is a small school, the alumni are very helpful because they know it's hard to get out there with that small alumni base, so they put forth that extra effort to help you out. So it's comforting that way.
How have you found the recruiting at the school?
I interned this summer at Mattel in Los Angeles, California, and I was lucky because I received an offer after the internship was over. So that definitely takes a lot of stress off of your whole job searching. Although you want to, look at all your options, which I'm doing, to make sure I take the right offer that's best for me. So I think the CMC, they definitely have their challenges, but they do their best in terms of bringing dynamic companies on board to kind of suit your interest and, putting you in touch with alums at companies that you're interested in if they don't necessarily recruit here.
Goizueta focuses on getting back to Atlanta because we're embracing Atlanta, trying to get jobs here. So for those people who want to go out to California and get a job, you can do it. It's just an extra step that you have to take. Probably over 50% of our hires are in the Southeast after you graduate from school, but the other big one is New York. So if those people that want to be bankers get back up to the street, they can do it. But I guess the drawback from here is it's great if you want to stay in the Southeast or get to New York, but if you want to go to Chicago, somewhere else more niche, you just have to put forth some extra effort. Sometimes those contacts just aren't there.
What type of person might not be happy at Goizueta?
I think most people would be happy here. There's the option to be really rigorous and academic intensive, and there are people here that go that route, and there's the option to enjoy the overall MBA experience. So my Argentinian friend thinks motorbikers wouldn't be that happy here, but other than that, I think most people should be happy here.
A person who is cutthroat, someone who's not very collaborative, someone who's not into teaming, someone who doesn't have the ability to be an independent thinker.
Do you have any advice for international students?
Pick a school that really does encourage international students, and when I say encourage, don't just go by the numbers. Most of the good schools, I think, have a third international students, but maybe if you have time, go there and see how well integrated the international students are with the rest of the program. It's one thing, having a number that you publish of being 1/3 international. It's a whole different thing, really absorbing those internationals into the program. So I'd say dig a little deeper than just going by the numbers. That was the Argentinian.
I find that here, as I said before, what is taught is far more practical than in Europe. So if they want to come here, it will give them a very big advantage towards their European colleagues in having far more knowing what they're actually going to encounter in the day-to-day work life. And that's definitely an advantage, and also the English, of course. And what I will tell them, come to the BS school, listen to the international office and the advice they give out the courses, because they tend to be right and we don't know very much what the thing's about. And yes, study hard, but also relax and save some time for having fun, because the campus I've got here is far away from anything I've got in Europe, and there are many things to explore, many people to see. They are very open, so make the most of the experience. There's time for everything.
What advice do you have for prospective students looking at MBA programs in general, and Goizueta in particular?
Take time to talk to all the students, as many students as you can. Prepare. Make sure you do all the academic things you need to do in terms of the GMAT, and making sure your recommendations and your essays are on point. But the biggest factor is make sure you go and visit these schools. You know, I visited maybe 6 or 8 schools, and I ended up only applying to 2. And you know, I'm happy with where I've landed. And I think the most important thing is to visit so you can, and go to the classes to see the dynamic of the discussion in the classroom, to see this if that's what you want. I think you can learn a lot by not just going for like a recruiting event, but going for like a random day in class so you can just see what normal operations are like.
Try to figure out where you want to end up and what you want to do after school before you go. Because if you know, some of these schools are centrally located. If you want to work out in California, try to give it at UCLA or USC. If you want to stay in the Southeast, Emory's a great choice. Duke's also an option. So I guess before you start applying, have an idea of what you want to do, because it'll make the process a lot easier.
This school is very big into relationships, and I think it's important to be able to have a high level of emotional IQ when you come to Goizueta, because it's a very realistic experience. It's not happy days all the time. Of course, Kimber would say the sun always shines at Goizueta, but you know, you just have to be a very strong person, but at the same time be willing to be available to your classmates.
Just to people who go to business school, you know, it's not just about the classes, it's more about the overall experience. And I think a lot of people come to business school and get really wrapped up in the classes and the grades and, you know, in jobs and interviews and all of that. And while those are all byproducts of the whole process, I think, you know, if you just kick back and actually absorb everything there is to absorb, you're gonna get the most out of business school. So enjoy.